My name is Grace, and this is a story I never thought I'd tell. About 15 years ago, my younger sister Rita walked out of her life like it was nothing. She had two small children, Steve, who was 6, and little Daisy, who had just turned 4. One day, she simply packed a suitcase, said she wanted a fresh start, and disappeared. No calls, no visits, nothing. At first, she said she'd come back in a few months, but months turned into years. So slowly, without planning it, I became everything for those two kids. I was their aunt, their mother, their homework helper, their parent at school meetings, the person who stayed up all night when they had a fever. I had my own job and my own life, but those two children became my entire world. Money was tight in the beginning. Raising two children is not easy, especially when you didn't expect it. I remember skipping things for myself so they could have school trips or birthday cakes. Steve loved science. He was always taking apart broken toys just to see how they worked. Daisy loved drawing and would leave little sketches everywhere around the house. Watching them grow gave me purpose. I never once thought of them as someone else's responsibility. In my heart, they were my children. Years passed, and life slowly improved. Steve worked incredibly hard and got into a good engineering college. Daisy studied design and started doing freelance work while she was still in school. I remember the day Steve got his first job offer. He came home with sweets and hugged me so tightly. He said, "This wouldn't have happened without you." That day, I felt like every struggle had been worth it. For almost 15 years, there was no sign of Rita. Sometimes I wondered where she was, but eventually I stopped expecting anything. Then, one evening, my phone rang from an unknown number. It was Rita. She sounded strangely cheerful. She said she'd been living in another city, working and traveling, and now she wanted to reconnect with her children. She said she missed them terribly and wanted to rebuild the family. I was relieved, honestly. I thought maybe the kids deserved to know their mother after all these years. I told Steve and Daisy, and they were shocked, confused, but curious. They agreed to meet her at a cafe. They said it felt strange, but they were willing to give her a chance. At first, everything seemed fine. Rita started calling them often, asking about their jobs, their plans, their future. But slowly, something started to feel off. Her questions weren't about their lives or their feelings. She kept asking about their salaries, their savings, their investments. One day, Daisy told me that her mother had suggested she make Rita the nominee on some of her accounts. Soon, the truth came out more clearly. Rita began telling them that I had brainwashed them, that they should cut ties with me if they wanted a proper relationship with their real mother. She said family loyalty meant choosing her. She even said that if they trusted her enough to make her nominee in their accounts and policies, it would prove they truly accepted her again. But here's the thing. The kids weren't 6 and 4 anymore. They were grown adults with eyes and minds of their own. They remembered who packed their lunchboxes, who sat through their exams, who stayed beside their hospital beds when they were sick. So one evening, they asked Rita to meet them again. Steve told her, "You may be our biological mother, but Aunt Grace is the one who raised us." And Daisy said that not only would they never cut ties with me, but they had already updated all their documents. Their nominee wasn't Rita. It wasn't even each other. They had both listed me. And just to make things clear, they had also written wills stating exactly how their assets should be handled in the future. Rita was furious. She argued, she accused, she even cried. But the kids stayed calm. Steve looked at her and said, "You left when we needed you most. You don't get to come back now just because we're successful." After that meeting, Rita stopped calling. Just like before, she disappeared from our lives. But this time, it didn't hurt the same way, because the children she abandoned had grown into adults who understood loyalty and gratitude. Sometimes people think time erases everything. But the truth is, time simply reveals who people really are. And in the end, the woman who walked away got exactly what she deserved. Nothing. Meanwhile, the 2 children she left behind still come home every Sunday for dinner. They still argue about silly things, still laugh too loudly, still call me when they need advice. And every time they do, I'm reminded that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about who stayed when everyone else left. If this story moved you, subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to the countless stories waiting to be told. Globally Told Chapters, where every story matters.